Hi everyone, Great Power 60 here. So, I'm making progress with little bits here and little bits there and so on. And then I was doing a lot of research on the computer, on YouTube for different um, how to declutter, the psychology about decluttering, the coaching about decluttering, how to overcome being overwhelmed, how to decide what to keep, what to toss, blah, 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 blah. There's so much out there. There's just so much. So I decided to clean off my table here while I'm watching these videos on my tablet. I cleaned off my table pretty good here. I have space to write. I have space if I want to do a craft. Um, I do have still a few things piled up here, but it's not as bad as it was. So I got to thinking, um, why do we stress over clutter? Why do we stress over it? And I started thinking, well, it's probably a couple of things. Clutter makes us stressed, whether it be misplaced things in the wrong place that pile up and pile up, and you just, you're busy, your life is busy, you leave it, so I think we need to stop being so hard on ourselves about clutter in our homes. It is what it is. However, for me personally, clutter in my bedroom, even though this is my craft space, it's split between my sleeping area and my craft, clutter affects my sleep. Okay. The other night when I had really sorted through things and got my dresser and tossed the clothes and fixed my closet and all of that, I slept so well, partly from exhaustion and partly because I felt accomplished. I felt I had made a start, and through this whole process that I'm going through with you, I'm taking you along with me, I realized that I am decluttering for three main reasons. The first reason is moving a lot of stuff, moving again a lot of stuff. And I've moved a lot in my life, and usually it's the happiest time for me because that's when I do declutter. That's when I get rid of duplicate things and things I haven't used. I have it and I haven't used it. When I was younger, and this is an age thing, unfortunately, it is. As we get older, we are not as sentimental about things as when we were younger. When I was younger, I held on to a lot of things. Coming from a military family, I always wanted to have, I wish we had a house that had an attic where we put things from our grandmother, that a house that my grandmother lived in and then we lived in, and then, that kind of thing. I always thought that would be just wonderful. And it would be great, but that's not my life. That was not my life. So I used to hold on to a lot of things that was given to me by my grandmothers, people that I love. And as I got a little older, my children and then my grandchildren. But when I was younger, I had an emotional attachment to a lot of things. But now that I'm older and I have moved a lot, I've been on my own, it was always, I would collect the newest thing. I got into crafts and kind of went crazy. Um, you would get gifts. I inherited things from my uncle. I inherited things from my mom. You know, I was getting more and more things. But now that I'm older, and I would say the second half of my life, however long that will be, I find that the usefulness and the value of things are not, the usefulness is important, and the value, of course, is important. But for me, what would be the point of keeping something from, I don't know, a ticket from a date, unless I put it in a scrapbook? You know what I mean? That would be different than, that's organized, and organized is different. But anyway, so I started thinking, why was I stressing about all of this stuff? And I was putting pressure on myself because when I lived alone, I had done a whole series of organizing, and I really enjoyed my home. I had a place for my crafts. They were well organized. My bedroom was comfortable. My apartment had, limited space, but all of the things that I had. And then my mom moved in with me, and along came a lot of her things. And then suddenly, I guess this past year, we're getting used to each other, and since we've been in this place, getting used to each other, and then I realized that a lot of her things I didn't want to get rid of because I thought, that's kind of disrespectful. And then I started going through things, looking at things, and realizing, well, some of hers are good and mine aren't. Chuck mine and keep hers, and then vice versa. So I started going and started changing my mindset. And like I said, as I'm getting older, I'm finding there's a lot of things I don't need to keep. I don't need to keep, 2 kettles. I don't need to keep, whatever. So, it's all in where you are and what your purpose is. So we stress, about clutter for many reasons. We stress because we're afraid, somebody's going to come over and see our house a mess. Or we're stressed because, like I said, you can't sleep because there's so much clutter. Clutter clutters your mind. It binds it. You go to bed thinking that I should have put that and I should have done that, and we got to get rid of that, and and we start stressing, and we don't totally relax. So if we just, I can't say to myself, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this room, and the next day I'm going to do this room, and then I am not. I think as I'm getting older, I am, and because I worked so hard all my life, and I had deadlines and projects, and deadlines could not be missed. I mean, they were firm, and and I multitasked a lot, and I did a lot, and I did a lot. And now as I'm, retired home, I'm not panicked about that kind of thing. What I guess what I'm saying is, I'd rather take something that's bothering me that day and say, okay, let's do it now. Let's just fix it. Let's just do it. Which is basically what I've been filming. I was uncomfortable with the dog being in the cold corner of my room, so I decided to move him over, but it wasn't working. So Mom and I sat here together and we said, okay, what can we do? So we decided to rearrange the room, and this way he has more space. His kennel is not in a little corner. It's got a lot of space around it. I can still get in the little dresser there. And, oops, sorry. And once I moved things around, and then I'm looking at that clean laundry that Mom and I spent all afternoon doing, I was avoiding it. avoiding it until I was really, really ready. I guess what I'm saying is that when you're ready to tackle something, tackle that one thing, just that one thing. And by me tackling, rearranging the room, I felt accomplished. I felt good. But then 2 piles of laundry, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, I feel like doing it now. Let's do it. So I brought you guys along. And the other, what's the word I'm looking for? The other reason is, of course, that I'm filming, and it's another chance for me to document with you guys and entertain you, if you like watching that stuff, filming the process. And it kind of helps me to think of the next step and the next thing and what I want to do. So for me, I can't say, okay, tomorrow I am going to clean the kitchen. I can't do that because I don't know what the day's going to bring. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how things are going to work out. I may not feel well. I may not feel like it, So I need, for me to be inspired, I need to feel, okay, this is bothering me. I need to do this now. And even if it's just the littlest, one little box in my room that I cleaned out was totally uplifting for me because it was one less thing to watch or to look at, When I was doing the kitchen drawers, that was out of the blue. I was looking at it and looking at it. I had watched a video about someone organizing their drawers, and I thought, well, that's a really good idea. And I went in and I could have left it because it wasn't really bothering me. But now that it's all, I got the little containers and they're all organized, every time I open that drawer, it's like, I'm so proud. And I got rid of things that have been collecting around and sitting around, and I've probably moved it around for years. So that was a real big thing for me. We have a couple of other places in the kitchen that we want to tackle, and I want to get Mom. That is another initiative for me, or another incentive, is to get Mom involved in doing something other than sitting watching TV and knitting and us going to bingo, or I take her to the store. Pretty much that is it. So when she was helping me with the room, her spirits were high. She felt really good. So I was kind of accomplishing 2 things at once, right? So that, is I guess, I'm babbling here for 13 minutes on something that I didn't want to babble on for 13 minutes. But, the big thing is being overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed for days and days and days and days and days. In weeks, I was overwhelmed about the clutter in my room, And for some reason, just doing 2 things has inspired me to do so much more. The clothes was a big one. The dressers, organizing. I feel so good. I know I can go to my dresser right now and I know exactly where everything is. I know I've organized my closet so that I know if I don't feel like wearing this top, I can take it off and put it in there. I know that I have a little basket in my closet on the floor that when it's full, we're going to go do a load of laundry. So it's kind of stuff like that, that made me feel better. And it's the baby steps. It's the littlest things. One of the people that I was watching was mentioning, if you're so overwhelmed and you're so exhausted and you've got lots of family around, you've got lots of people around, and you just, you don't feel like you have any help, you're kind of resentful about the help, but in fact you're resentful about yourself because you're not doing anything about it. It's kind of like, you kind of baby steps. Take one thing that bothers you. Take one thing that bothers you and fix it. Just do what you need to do. to organize it, to throw out, to do whatever. I still have a box full of makeup stuff. I don't feel like going through it. I know most of it is garbage. I know I'm going to be throwing it like 90% of it out, maybe even 99% of it out. I don't know. But what she was saying about being overwhelmed, one of the first steps you can do, and I know I did this, is put the things in their proper room. So for me, let's say, I have in the living room, I've got a desk in there with my computer. So I take off my sweater because I'm too hot. I leave it there. We go out, come back. I have another sweater on. I take another sweater off and I put it there. So I've got my sweater there, and then I left my purse there, and then while I was on the computer, I brought some other things in and I have them there. They don't belong there. They belong in my room. So it was bugging me that the living room was getting kind of messy because I had a pair of socks. Because I get hot, I take the socks off. I go in the living room or go the next day and I put on a different pair of socks, and here the other ones are still in the living room. So, it's just the idea of you're sitting in your living room and you're saying, that belongs in the bathroom, that belongs in the boys' room, that belongs to my husband. Who cares who it belongs to? Take it out and put it in the room. You don't have to fix it. Just put it in that room. I have piles of papers that I need to sort through. Some of it is advertisements, garbage, paperwork. I have them now all in one place. Matter of fact, there was some on here. I just have it on my bed because I am going to go in the living room and put it there because I have a box where I keep all of those papers. So that is a really good step to take. And it just, pick that room that you want to go into and just do one thing, whatever it may be. I'm sort of confining myself to my bedroom. So the one thing I had to do was my clothes. Once I did that, it was like uplifting. It was so uplifting. And I hope you'll continue watching me for the rest of the series because, for the rest of my baby steps, decluttering, organizing, thinking about stuff like that. I just think that there is so much to talk about. And maybe in my next video and the next thing that I'm going to be sorting through, maybe then we can talk about the struggles we have with what to keep. Should I keep this? Is it useful? I was doing that in the kitchen. I don't use this. We've got 4 of those. I don't need this. Times have changed. Technology's changed, I'll give you a good example. I was thinking about that. We have a lot of things in the kitchen, as an example. I've got a mixer. I've used it once. I bought it because in my 1-bedroom apartment when I was living alone, I wanted everything in the kitchen red and white because I bought a lot of the Betty Crocker from the dollar store items and everything was red and white. And this beautiful mixer was red. And my blender is red. Now my blender I use almost every second day. I use it to when we have extra vegetables, I puree that and I put it in with my dog food. So I use it a lot. But my mixer is sitting there. I've used it once. I don't even really know how to use it or even why I bought it, except that it looked nice. But it's just a big thing that's sitting on the top of our fridge. I'm never going to use it. So while unpacking Mom's stuff, I came across, I think it's some kind of food processor. I'm never going to use it. So those are 2 big items to take out of my kitchen that we just don't use. Anyway, this is long enough. I've chatted long enough. I didn't mean to have it this long, but I just wanted to sort of talk about the whole decluttering process and what people go through. It's so much more, and there's so many videos on YouTube that you can watch. But some of them can be pretty too much information. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, you can keep watching them and watching them, but it's not going to motivate you. As a matter of fact, I think it kind of puts you down a little bit and makes you feel, at least for me. I have to always talk about my own personal feelings about it. But for a while, I was watching so many of them that I just gave up. I just said, I can't do what they're saying. Plan, make a plan, put it on your calendar, decide to do these days. I can't do that. I have to feel it. And it's almost like the Con Marie method. I have to feel the joy in what I'm doing as well as the things that I'm holding and whether to keep them or not. I have to say, you know, am I really using it? Do I really? It's not do you really need it, and it's not that you want it. It's, is it making you happy to have it? Does it make you happy? When I bought that mixer and I had my kitchen, my own, by myself, and I had it all set up, it was beautiful. I loved it. It looked nice, made my kitchen look nice, and I loved it. Now it's just a big piece of equipment that's in the way, and that I'm never going to use. And many years ago, if my mom would come and live with me long before her dementia, she would have baked things with it because she used them at work when she was working many, many years ago. You know, she was of bright mind and she could remember them and she knew what things were for and how to use them, and she could have taught me things, you know. But now it's just, it's going out the door. Thanks for joining me, guys. That's it for today because I've gone over my 20 minutes. I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to, I guess, talk to you from my own personal experience. One little thing I mean, this is, well, the box on the bottom's empty, but it's starting to pile up. But I've got 2 boxes here full of things. A lot of it is craft stuff. A lot of it. And I know I have to get to it. But I'm not as stressed about it as I was because I will get to it. It's just, I've got to feel the joy. I've got to feel like I want to tackle that one thing. I know I have to go through my storage unit downstairs and sort through a lot of things. I'm not in a hurry. And if I don't do it at this apartment, when we move, I'll do it at the next one. I would like to do things now. We do what makes us feel better about ourselves. If we accomplish something and we feel really good about it, then great, you know. And if you're happy in your home with a lot of stuff in it that some people call clutter and you just call that living and it's just your home, so what? Enjoy it, you know. Don't stress yourself out because of other people's opinions. You live the way you live because you're happy doing that. If you're not happy, then do something, like I am. Thanks for joining me, guys, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.